Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the final roundup of this 3-day epic horseboarding challenge at Cheshire Showground, which has been round 7 of the National Horseboarding Championships. As you can tell, I'm a little bit hoarse from so much excitement, and to be totally honest, the elite class has just been breathtaking.
I've just started chuckling because I've just looked at the times for the first time.
But it was best to have a quick look at how the intermediate eventually finished. As we know, Chasing Tails were the only team in the novice. They've had a great weekend. They've developed lovely and got a load of good runs in. So, you know, that class finished in that manner with them getting their trophies and whatever else. But into the intermediate, we had 3 teams, and in the end of the day, all of a sudden, out of nowhere, like pretty much all weekend, it's been a pretty standard thing. We've seen Pony Express in 3rd place by quite a way, but then all of a sudden they put out a run this afternoon, and it was a very good run, and they were 0.19 seconds behind 50 Shades of Bay. So, you know, which again is nothing. But, you know, all of a sudden they thought, okay, we'll have another go at this because it's 3rd day for the pony. Maybe we can find out 0.19 seconds. But unfortunately they couldn't. Pony ran out of gas and they took the educated decision to actually, that's it, pull the horse. We must finish the race.
Interestingly though, where they stopped, they were on the last corner, the last little bit to go, and they needed to get a 57-second run. They were on 48 seconds, and they only had a little bit to do, and that was
they could have done in
so
good
inside
7
the window.
seconds.
Yeah,
it could have been about 7 seconds, maybe less. So they took 3rd place here today, and then we have 2nd place was 50 Shades of Bay, and
60.76 seconds over the averages. But
first place
bruises easily with a sub 50-second average. They just flew round.
Yeah, absolutely. And again, it's worth noting that we know Bruises Easily have the team, according to the 2-element classification, has on qualification, has qualified up from the novice into intermediate, and then in the intermediate category, they've also got Reese, who is an elite board rider. So, you know, that has helped their growth. And, you know, board riders like Andy, although he's only been boarding this year, and Sandy, who's on 50 Shades of Bay, you know, but Sandy's had a couple of years experience. We saw him last year, featured I think 3rd in the best crash video. He did a couple of falls today in the carousel. 2 falls in the carousel is not something you often see.
Yeah.
And it's not something that we'll forget easily. But you know, it was, you know, but all that aside, the team blitzed it, and ended the 3rd day with a 23.58 second lead on the other 2 teams. And now when we go to Sandringham, they will be going into the Sandringham Arena, where they will be taking on the big boys in the elite. Having just spoken to Amy, the horse rider from that team, she just said, I'm a little bit concerned about coming into the elite on how tight it was this weekend. And let's just go to this. It's breathtaking.
Should we just...
I don't even know which way you would approach this. Like,
no, should we just start from 7? And you'll hear the difference in times. So in 7th place, it was Despicable Minions with an average time of 1696.2, and they were 32 seconds behind Consider It Done, who sat in 6th place with an 80.47 average time.
Well, what they needed to do, that 32 seconds, isn't the difference between their average times. It's what they needed to do, taking into account their other average times to get into the next position. So then
I can't quite believe
in 5th place, but we say we can't quite believe it, but everything's so close together, there's nothing in it. In 5th place, there's Dead Pigeons. Dead Pigeons were in 5th place, not because they didn't run or they missed their runs. or like we've seen earlier on in the season where they, we had rain and they'd not got a rundown in the morning, we had to cancel the afternoon, or where we have to cancel the second day. Not for any of those reasons,
but because
the teams, because all the other teams raced their absolute hearts out this weekend, and maybe a little bit extra motivation. I don't know.
I think they had a 73.52 seconds on the averages, and it must have been Dragact just went a bit shorter around a corner and something like that, because 0.002 of a second ahead of them is Dragact with 73.5.
50, yeah. So they're 0.2 of a second on the averages. So what? 0.02 of a second. These margins are so small. 0.02 of a second. 200ths of a second. They needed to make 0.04 of a second to take that place back.
That's a step.
And Dragact
by an inch.
Yeah, well, not even. And Dragact, it's just perfect. The teams this weekend raced absolutely perfect. And it wasn't no big mistakes. We're almost all of us absolutely, and elite is exactly how I would describe this whole field. But then, so Dragact in 4th place, and then with 73.50, and in 3rd place UK Border Force with 73.44.
That's
0.06 of a second difference. So in those 3 positions, you've got 0.02 of a second and then 0.06 of a second. And then in the 2nd place was Sudden Impact with 73.17.
That's mental.
There's
4 teams with less than a second between them.
And some of those half a second. Less than a tenth of a second between some of them.
From 5th to 2nd. That's insane.
Yeah, and then, it was very close all the way through. Sudden Impact were chasing Chill Winston, and Jack Bateman boarded like a man on fire. He was absolutely... he'd stepped up a level, really stepped up a level, and probably, I would say, man of the match for this weekend.
We're going to say man of the match.
Jack Bateman, some of the stuff he did with that board that normally would have put him on the floor badly. He was sitting down, he's standing up, he's on 2 wheels,
coming back.
he's sliding. It was unreal boardmanship. New word I just made up.
Boardmanship.
Boardmanship.
I like it.
And they were chasing Chill Winston all the way until Chill Winston's last run, when Chill Winston went out. They'd only got a second and a half, or less than a second and a half lead, and then Chill Winston went out and just blitzed it. An amazing run, took their average down to 71.06, which gave Sudden Impact a 4.21 hill to climb. And what was interesting is nobody withdrew. Everybody wanted to see what the Dead Pigeons were going to do in their final run, but unfortunately, the final run they crashed out again. Then they didn't complete a run all afternoon. But these guys were firing on the red line all the way around. The absolute limit of what the boards can take, the absolute limit of what the board riders can take, and the limit of how fast these horses can get around this course. There was no more left. Everybody left everything in terms of competition in that arena.
Constantly, the speed trap was 25 miles an hour. 25 miles an hour.
Yeah, 26 miles an hour, 24, 25. The split time, 36, 36, 37, 38, 36. There was, and loads of them were coming through at 36. Apparently, it takes 36 seconds to get to that speed trap, to get to the split time. You can't do it any faster. They've just spent 3 days trying. So, in the end of the day, Chill Winston took the victory, and that will change the leaderboard. So, the leaderboard for the team championships is like this. And start with Despicable Minions. Okay, they actually withdrew this afternoon, but they are in 10th place in the elites with 6 points, having only been in a couple of competitions.
In 9th place, it's Sudden Impact with 23 points.
Yeah, Sudden Impact really are a team that next year are one that will be up there and it's hard to imagine what next year is going to be like with all these level of such good teams. 8th position's Pocket Rocket with 25 points.
7th position, Bored Senseless with 27 points.
6th position will be Chill Winston with 29 points after 3 rounds of competition. That's an amazing run up the table.
They could challenge Consider It Done
for 4th place. Yeah, they could end up taking that. So in then Mad Hatters 5th place, 30 points.
In 4th place, Consider It Done with 38 points.
So yeah, 38 points. Depending on what teams turn up at Sandringham and how that all affects, there is only another 10 points, and they're there if Consider It Done don't score a point. But Consider It Done always turn up and are always likely to score a point at least. So you're looking. There is a good possibility if Chill Winston carries on the same form, then they could take 4th place. But what we have to also be aware is that we're just about to throw Bruises Easily into this mix, and that is going to could completely change everything again. So then we go into 3rd place, UK Border Force with 52 points.
And then Drag Act, only a point ahead of them, currently sat in 2nd place with 53 points.
And then in 1st place still is the Dead Pigeons with 59 points, only 6 points clear of Drag Act. And it's those 6 points which are going to tell the difference, and the next 20 points in the next 2 rounds, which are going to tell the difference between them winning this historic 5th championship win in a row, and how long will we have to wait to see a team win 5 championship wins in a row. It's not going to be in the next 5 years.
No,
it's going to be separated. Things going to happen. But we're at Sandringham next on the 2nd weekend of September. Living Heritage, go to our website, and Living Heritage website, you can see the dates there. And Sandringham is our Indy 500. The big X-race horses are going to love it.
Absolutely massive. So if you want to see some top-notch horseboarding, we've seen here this weekend, I couldn't put money on
but
that.
But you know what? I would put the money on being on the X-racers. I think every one of the X-racers will be in the top numbers, and I think the horses that haven't got that pedigree of being an X-racer will probably be in the second lot of the arena, because the arena is just so big, and the big X races, they can extend their stride so far, and Naboo will be properly let out of his chains, because some of these turns were a bit tricky, and which suited some of the smaller polo ponies and Drag Act pony, that would suit that. Although it's a massive arena, some of the turns were quite sharp still, so who knows, anything could happen. But that is all we have to say about, we could talk for hours about the events of how the boarding has developed this weekend. It was an elite spectacle which came down to points or tenths and hundredths of a second after 3 days of racing. Ladies and gentlemen, that was round 7 of the National Horseboarding Championships, and we look forward to seeing you in Sandringham in a couple of weeks' time.
Winning.